Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Strawberry Hill Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Simmons, and as always, we're here at the Shop Cigar Lounge. And like I said, if you haven't come visit us, please do. And before we get started, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure you follow us on the platforms. And with that, we'll get started today. We have Larry, Phil, Ben, right?
Yeah,
got it right. From the Strawberry Hill Brewing Company.
Yep.
Welcome in, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, and you guys just are down the street right at Slaps, right?
Yep. Right across from the west side of Slaps.
West side of Slaps.
601 Central Avenue.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it's been quite the process of getting it open, right?
It's only about 10 years. It's not that long.
Oh, Jesus. So 10 years. Really?
We've been brewing 10 years anyway.
We've been brewing now for like 12 or 13.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. But we started working on it 10 years ago. We finally started telling people 8 years ago, which in hindsight, I guess was kind of a mistake,
Yeah, a lot of people are excited.
Yeah.
Because I knew about it a while back, probably 6-7 years ago. Like, hey, something's coming. And so got excited and like, when is this shit going to happen?
A lot of people on our first soft opening weekend would come in and they were like, we thought someone like hacked your Facebook account or the one because we thought it was abandoned. And like, we had to come in and see if you guys are actually open. We're like, no, it's not a joke. It just took that long.
So when did you guys open up? Like just recently, right?
Yeah, 4 weeks ago?
Five weeks ago.
Something like that. Yeah.
So how's it going?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's nice to...
Knock the cobwebs off. And
It's nice to finally like bring people in instead of like looking out at the people going to Slaps. Like, oh, we'll have beer soon.
Yeah, look at that line. They could have coming over here.
So how's it being right next to Slaps? Because that's got to be easy and hard at the same time. I know. That's
I
what
don't know if you can tell.
Yeah. I don't know if I could be right next to Slaps.
Yeah, I definitely every time it's like, oh, get off work, go work on the building and stuff, and it's like, oh, I'll just get some Slaps.
Yeah, so, that happens.
But
a lot.
yeah, it's great because you get all sorts of out of town people walking by like, oh, what's this? It's like, come on in, get a beer.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So are you guys like originally from Kansas City, or are you guys kind of from?
Yeah, we're all KCK. Not born, but all lived here our entire lives.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So what school did you go to? That's like everyone asks, like, if you're from Wyandotte County, it's like, oh, you're from Wyandotte County. What school did you go to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We all went to Bishop Ward.
So y'all were. See, I went to Piper, so we're supposed to be like rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's fine.
That all clears pretty quickly after graduation. And we can just all be friends.
Yeah. So you guys from here, you went to Ward. Then what did you guys do kind of like after high school? I'm sure like everyone has kind of a different
we all
story.
did kind of take different paths there for a while. I went to Rockhurst for math and physics. And
I went to Johnson County Community College for a year or two and then transferred to K-State for engineering.
Hey, Emaw, I went to K-State. There you go. Yeah.
Not finished, though. Came back here, got a job. Been working ever since.
Yeah, I don't know, went to random community colleges for a while, went to get an EMT, then switched off of that, and been selling sand ever since.
Selling sand?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How's that going?
It's exciting life.
It's exciting. That sounds exciting. He's like, hey, you want some sand? I got X amount of sand and this amount of sand.
You'd be surprised.
So what kind of got you into, like, the brewing like aspect of, like, what made you guys want to start brewing?
It's a little bit out of like trying to save some money.
From buying drinks all the time.
Yeah. Well, we all lived together for a period of time. When the housing market crashed, I bought a house further west in KCK, and I thought I could help cover my expenses moving a bunch of dudes in. And these two were some of them. We were up to 5 at one point, I think. And just the volume of beer that we were going through on a weekly basis, we first thought, well, if we buy kegs instead of cases, that'll save us a little bit of money.
Smart.
And then we just, I think, kind of got the idea. This is what you guys may have an entirely different story, honestly. It's been long enough.
Well, yeah, we got a kegerator. We're like, we'll save tons of money. And then
had to load them in the back of a Buick LeSabre, the kegs. Just like struggle with them and just like roll it in the back of the Buick.
We'd get a keg of Guinness.
Oh wow, you're getting the heavy stuff.
We started off the bat with something.
We got something. We got apple crisp something.
Yeah,
and we got into 2 days of that, and we're like, we cannot drink this anymore. So we just struggled to get through that keg. But we got Guinness, so Phil would get off work first. I'd show up at the house. He'd already be one deep. I'd start pouring. By that time, Larry would get home. He'd start drinking. We'd go through one of those kegs.
Watching Pardon the Interruption.
Yeah. Watching ESPN. Oh, it's PTI's on that. So we went through all that, and then me and Phil were at Sam's Club stocking up on bachelor goods, meat and
cheese.
Of meat.
Yeah. Meat, cheese, and bread.
And
That's about it.
We were walking by and saw one of those Mr. Beer kits, which is just essentially like a little plastic tub, and they give you the extract and stuff, and you throw it in the corner, and it'll make beer. Some of the worst beer.
Yeah, I was about to say, what was your first experience of making beer?
That was the first experience, and we kind of, I don't think we all did it together. I think it was just...
I'll say I wasn't involved in that.
Yeah, I think it was just you and I decided to make it one afternoon after we bought it, and kind of didn't really pay attention to it. Like, it just got set on the counter, and we ignored it for a while, and then I finally put it in the plastic bottles it came with, and it didn't carbonate, I don't think, and it was super sweet.
It already came with the liquor or whatever.
No, it came with yeast and extract.
So
and
you still had to like boil it and stuff, but and it was some of the worst beer I've ever had in my life.
I can imagine.
Like, there's got to be a better way. And then we were looking, it's like, oh wait, we have this pot and this thing. It's like, well, you can get extract. There's this homebrew shop.
Yeah.
Like, let's go get, look how cheap that is. We can make 5 gallons. All we need is a bucket. And then, we need to buy this. We got to buy this. And then you start, as homebrewers, you just start collecting way too much equipment and kegs and
Carboys.
We're like, we don't even have to bottle because we have a
coils.
kegerator, so we can get kegs, just straight keg everything.
How many homebrew kegs are we up to at this point?
Probably 15.
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
So we had like 15 batches of beer in the basement when we were...
Jeez.
And then we had
homebrewing.
We have probably 6 glass
carboys.
Carboy guys. And so we were rolling pretty good there for a while.
It sounds like you kind of just dove head first into
it really was. Once we did that first one, we were like, it's got to be better than this. There's got to be something better. So we went to... it wasn't Brew Lab first. We did go to Brew Lab. We didn't go to Bacchus either at first. It was that one
place in
up
North City, but
I can't remember the name.
I was talking to somebody about there. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's like stores where you can just buy
stores around.
stuff.
Yeah, and they have recipes there, so you can just buy the grains from them. They'll tell you kind of what to do.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And so we started off with one of them and got a recipe together from them and brewed it.
I think we did like a Fat Tire clone.
That's the first success that I remember, is because we had the Mr. Beer was an extract. And then we kind of swung for the fences after that failed and said, let's just go straight to all grain brewing, which in hindsight is maybe a little unusual. But
so, you got to explain to me what all.
I was going to say, we should probably explain. Yeah. You can buy, basically when we make beer, we have all grains and we crush them up and you steep them like you would tea, more or less. A little more than that, but effectively. You can also buy that process already done in just like syrup cans is kind of what they look like.
Or powdered form.
Or powdered
form.
Other.
Yeah.
And so that someone's already done that and already extracted all the sugars out of the grains for you.
And flavor.
And there's some really good beers that are made that way, absolutely. But then you just take those and you put it in your water and boil it from that. Maybe put a couple of specialty grains on top of it. So extract is you use basically somebody else's extracted sugars. All grain is we take... I don't know, how many pounds of grains are in a batch these days?
It depends, anywhere from 55 to 90 pounds of grains
that we just put in a big kettle and do it.
So do you guys brew all this at the brewery?
Yeah. In a little area.
12 by 12?
Yeah, about as big as this area right here.
It's a little cramped.
It's tight.
It's getting the job done right now.
Are you guys hoping to expand so you can do more?
Yeah. So at the rate we'd be able to expand, it took us 10 years to open something, I don't know, 2045?
Yeah, maybe.
Like in 3 years.
I think the thing we would probably, as the brewers, want to do first is right now our fermentation tanks are 3 times the size of our brewing kettle. So we actually have to do 3 shifts when we brew. So it's like a 12-hour day for the 3 of us taking turns making the beer. So I think the first thing would be upgrading that so it's like a 4-hour day instead of all day.
Yeah, we kind of got off the ground with what we could afford, to the point we get the door open.
Yeah.
And then hopefully over time we get, good patronage, and we'll have some income to... Well, get merch. We want to get merch.
Yes. Working on shirts, people.
I was about to say, I need one of these shirts.
Yeah,
I have all your stickers. I've handed it out to almost everybody.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We have another pile. We could do some more.
So you guys, started this this brewing? I mean, talking about earlier, and then what did your first batch? You said it was like a Fat Tire clone.
I think we did a couple. I think we did a couple other recipes before that didn't quite turn out, and we kind of came to the realization we need to try to make something that already exists and compare it to see what our faults are.
Yeah.
And we actually, aside from maybe the color, we almost nailed that Fat Tire
from what I
clone the first time we tried it, and that gave us the confidence to start.
Oh, we can do anything.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Well, it also gave us our process on how we would develop new beers, which is everybody after work picks a liquor store, and we just pick all the same style.
Yep.
So if we're going to do a stout, everybody gets 5 stouts, and then we just do tasters of them, and we would write down what is it we liked about them. And then we would have, usually at that point, it would have been Derek.
Derek was our buddy, lived across the street. He was part of it for a while, but now he's busy fighting fire. So he
homebrewed with us, but he would go and research like, okay, what is it about this recipe that gives it that quality? And then we'd like combine everything we liked about him, and
then keep drinking and argue for many hours about. I don't like that hop. We're not putting that hop in the beer.
Yeah. So with 4 of us being involved, there was a lot of times we've got to find the middle ground.
Yeah.
But I think hopefully that also helps us find some wide appeal with people's tastes too. That like we all like the beer that we make, so hopefully a lot of other people do too. But it's been a good process for us. What's good about this? What's bad about this? Take all those notes, find out what causes it, and develop from there.
So from that point, what clicked in you guys and said, maybe we should open a brewery?
Well, that was back to money, I think, because we spent a lot of money on kegs, and then we spent a lot of money on all of this stuff to brew it, and we're like, maybe we can make some money back on this.
I think the trigger, though, was we did the Nano Brew Festival in Berkeley Riverfront Park, which they don't do anymore, but it was kind of a home brew, micro brew combination festival, and we just decided we'd gotten a good kind of catalog of beers together at that point. I think we had
crazy ones
easily
too,
10 recipes, and we settled on 8 because we thought producing at 5-gallon scale in my kitchen, and basement. Yeah. So we're like, all right, let's do these 8. Take them out, and we floated probably 5 of those kegs at the festival and half of each of the rest, and we got really good feedback on everything just from people we didn't even know. Like we'd had some parties at the house giving away beer, and everybody's like, yeah, this is great, but it's your friends and it's free, so of course they love it.
Everyone loves
free beer is great.
No
matter what it tastes like.
But when we took it out to the festival and all these strangers and random people that really liked the beer, that's where I got, I think, the hope that we could turn it into something.
So what made you did you guys already have the name, let's call it Strawberry Hill Brewery, or?
We argued over that for a long time, didn't we?
Originally we were like, oh, what would be good is Caw Point, and then Caw Point Meadery or whatever popped up, which that
unfortunately they
never finished out.
Where is that? The one that was supposed to be down here?
Yeah. So we were like, oh, and it's like, well, do Strawberry Hill because then people know where we're at, location-y wise, and I mean, especially at the time, I mean, there were so few breweries. I mean, there were still a bunch, but compared to now, there's so many in the city now. It's crazy.
There was probably 11 in the metro when we first started talking about this, and I think there's over 50, around about 50.
There was 11 back. Jeez, yeah, there's a lot that keep popping up.
It was as soon as we were like, okay, let's do it. It's new brewery, open new brewery. It's no. It's like, well, none are around here though still, and we just kind of want to be more of a local.
You got to be the first one in Wyandotte County, right?
Not Wyandotte County.
I don't even know if KCK, because I think there's one way out northwest.
There's one in Bonner.
Yeah.
Where else?
I was told about one that's way northwest Wyandotte County, just a real small one too. Someone who came in, I hadn't even heard of them either, but I think they would probably have been before us.
Out by Leavenworth?
Yeah,
it's Range 23.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've had some of their beer. That's good stuff. They just opened up a tap room in Bonner.
So we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, someone was just telling me about that.
Yeah, but I think you guys are only 2. I don't think there's anybody else.
Yeah,
as far as I know.
Yeah.
Well, the goal was to be the first, of course, as long ago as we started talking about
it. You probably were the first, back then. You just because you had the building for a while, right?
Yeah, well, Phil's parents own the building, so that's also why we were able to take so long.
Yeah, we were really lucky on that front.
I mean, otherwise, we would have been like the metering been dead in the water as soon as something goes wrong with the building. You know, it's like
dealing with a landlord and all that.
Start paying tons of rent before the building's even fixed up. You know, cripples a lot of people.
So tell me about the brewery. I haven't been down there yet.
What do you want to know about?
I mean,
is it originally a billiards hall? What 1900?
See, I get that people ask me this all the time, and I don't remember all the different things it was. I remember
it was a billiards hall from 1900 whatever, whenever the building started, like 04 or something.
Yeah, it was pretty.
To like 1950, early 50s, and then it was just a bar into the 60s, which we did find in the wall, replacing a door, where they would go across to Missouri to buy liquor to sell in Kansas. They hid the liquor bottles in the wall with all the receipts too. So we have eventually. If I ever have time, we're going to get a cool display together with all that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully the statute of limitations is passed. We're not ratting anybody out there.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but you don't want to get anybody in trouble.
In Kansas now, so I think we're really, I think it all evaporated out of the, and then it was a strip club. I think in like the...
That was a strip club?
Yeah.
No shit.
So we also have a pair. I shouldn't say we. Should say Phil's dad has a pair of roller skates that the strippers would roll around on there apparently.
Nice.
So need to shadow box that too. You know.
Yeah, you guys need to come up with a beer with like the roller skate or something.
And then after that, it was a machine shop or something
for a little bit.
And then his dad turned into like an art studio, and then a auxiliary storage unit for a long time. So it was just full of his extra findings in there, and as a plumber he would pick up anything, so there's like a piano in there, jukebox, all sorts of cool crazy stuff. But then we just started fixing her up.
Moving stuff out, painting, moving equipment in.
So I take it it's like a tap room. You just come in, try things. It's like food or anything.
No food. We do have
that slaps right there.
That's pretty much it. I mean,
we do allow people to bring food in, like a lot of breweries do. You know, you got Go Chicken Go around the corner too, and we're right off the taco trail. So there's a ton of options in the area. Of course, Slaps being the best, closest option. You know, they've been great to have nearby.
Absolutely.
And we got full liquor license too. So we got other beers and boozes and things because a lot of people are like, well, my friends don't drink craft beer.
Yeah, so that's my next question.
All right, we got tequila. You can bring your friends, So
do you what other drinks do you got? I mean, I guess, do you have like a full bar where you can do anything or just?
Not a lot of mixers, but we can do your standard.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're mixologists or anything like that. We may...
Not if I'm bartending. If I'm bartending, you're lucky to get a Jack and Coke right.
I'll make you whatever. If you see me, I'll figure something out for you. Yeah.
We might get there someday as far as cocktails and things. I think would be fun to have a couple
featured, but we can incorporate the beers into them and stuff. But it'll just take time to get bored and make something up.
So you got 4 beers on tap, right?
Yep. And eventually we got 6 taps. Eventually might have a 5th one on here before too long, but probably won't talk about it till we know for sure.
Make sure it comes out right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we'll hopefully by the end of the year be up to 6 beers, and then next year we'll be able to start rotating in different stuff. And
I'm excited to try it. That's why I was like asking that question. I was like, all right, we got 4. Let's try them.
Yeah, these 4 we expect to keep on hand all the time going into the future and use our 5th and 6th taps to
you guys
get into that
one?
back catalog.
I don't know if do you get tired of drinking your own stuff all the time?
No.
That's why I make it, because then I can,
Do you guys want to cut?
Probably start light to dark, right?
Yeah,
start with the Gaslight.
Yeah, is that
that makes sense.
The one on the end there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get in on.
You want a cup, Phil? You good?
Yeah. Here, I'll hand you the bottle. All right, so what are we drinking? You got to tell people.
This is, I'll let Larry do it.
Yeah, this is our Gaslight Lager, in quotations. It is not technically a lager. It is gaslighting you into thinking it is a lager. But it's also named after a bar that used to be a couple buildings to the west on Central Avenue called the Gaslight. So we were just doing a little kind of wordplay with that. But this should be your kind of summer easy drinker, you know, on a hot day. It's actually been probably top 2 of sales, maybe, in the...
Yeah, I think this one and YPA are 1 and 2.
It's been really popular.
Back and forth, thanks.
So how do you come up with the names? I mean, that was a cool one. I was like, what about the other ones?
Drunken arguments.
Yeah.
Drunken arguments, yeah. Or just like the first thing that someone said.
We try to be clever, make calls or references to the area, where we can.
Even if they're hidden.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just fun to play with that kind of stuff, and everybody contributes to all those different things.
Tell me about this beer. You said it's gaslighting you into thinking it's a lager.
Yeah, so it should drink like what people would call like a yard or a tailgate beer to a certain extent. But I couldn't help myself. I snuck a little bit of biscuit in there just to give it maybe a teeny bit more character than you typically get.
Biscuit.
Yeah,
right, I'm a novice. I have no clue what you're talking about. I'm thinking like you're putting biscuits in the thing and just
there's various there's various malts depending on where it was grown, how long it was toasted or roasted or malted. So how dark or light the grain is gives it different characteristics. They can be caramely, chocolatey, nutty. And
it's kind of like cigars.
Yeah,
and I'm big into bourbon too. So it's kind of like not the same, but it's yeah. So this is good.
So this is technically a cream ale. But masquerading kind of as that light drinker. So lagers, which typically, your macro beers, your Bud Lights, your Miller Lights, your Coors Lights are lagers, but they take like 90 days start to finish because it's a cold fermenting yeast, which is a really slow process because of the cold. Ales you can turn around in like 2 weeks. And so starting out to get our production up, we're getting into all of our ale recipes with lagering hopefully to come, in the future on our fifth tap rotators.
So with this taking
like
2 weeks, what do the others normally take?
All four of these that we have are about 2 weeks. But those large scale lagers that people are familiar with can be a 90-day process.
Even IPAs, if you want to do some crazy hoppage that takes longer.
Yeah,
like that,
or if you're going to make a sour, it can take 18 months. Or if we're going to barrel age a stout, we might leave it in there for a year. So there's some variance in there, but your straightforward ales just are going to take a couple weeks.
So when do you start like brewing it? Like, like if you're just getting low and you're like, we need to make another batch, or you just kind of have like a schedule that you're just kind of always going to?
The easy answer is we're just kind of rotating through them right now, and then it's like we're gonna have to start figuring it's gonna get colder, so now we might want to do more stout instead of and then now it's just like we don't know because we haven't been here before, so it's gonna be
it's a lot of just like we only have 2 kegs of this left, we should probably make some kind of a deal right now,
just kind of trying to not run out because you don't want to run out of anything.
No. So you've got something, people show up for it and it not be there. Yeah. So we have to anticipate to a certain extent because of the lead time. 2 weeks is still a lot of time if you run low. But
okay, I'm like ready for the next one.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm like drinking a lot faster than everybody else.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
All right, we should have brought a keg over, maybe. I don't know.
What do you want to do though? YPA?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right, so tell me about this one.
All right, so again, trying to be a little clever with our naming conventions. We're in Wyandotte County. We're making an IPA, so we call it the YPA. This is going to be kind of a classic IPA. I think, almost as if originally intended from the olden times when they were making these in Britain. Not so much a West Coast American style where it's a super hop blowout, not an East Coast style where they're super kind of citrusy and turbid, meaning you can't see through them very well. This one still really clear, like a West Coast, but not the hot bomb.
Pour over here.
I couldn't see behind the
It's
microphone.
all right, yeah.
You went through the first one so fast. So give you enough to sip on a while.
Didn't want to
Passed
rush
out by
you,
20 minutes here.
But on the nose, you should get a good hop character, and once you get into it, a good amount of body to stand up to it. Sometimes you'll get like the West Coast IPAs where it's all hop and almost. They can be a little watery sometimes. They thin them out pretty good. We like to leave a little body in this little malt to stand up to that hop and find some balance in there is the goal.
This is definitely one of those ones where we were all tasting them, and it was like, I like maltier beers, and I like hoppier beers, and it's like, well, this one's going to have to be in the middle somewhere.
Yeah,
and we
I
get
can
a lot
say
of comments.
I've had a lot of IPAs. This is like, I prefer this one.
You like it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's just not like overpowering as like some IPAs are.
Nice.
Thank you. That was the goal.
That's exactly what happens.
I will say we will make you guys a nice. We got a double IPA. We'll make.
Yeah, I mean,
year,
people
so,
can drink that. That's fine. This is the one I want.
Yeah, sweet.
Yes.
We always plan on having it.
Yes.
So we'll have it
awesome.
for you.
So what are your 2 number 1 sellers? You said
This one, yeah, the two we've just had are 1 and 2 for sure.
And I think it has to do somewhat with the time of year that we've opened up. It's still been pretty hot for the most part, so these refreshing, kind of crisper, lighter beers. I'm betting as it's cooling off that these next two we start seeing kind of that uptick as people get into the darker, roastier stuff for the wintertime.
So do you guys just like, when you come up with the ones you want to like brew or show, are you just coming up with like the lager, the IPA, and I don't know what the other two are, like, are you just kind of going like, what's the most popular like types of beer people like, or kind of like...
Probably not.
We make beer for the American working man because that's who we are and that's what we care about, I think. Right? And that was,
I think, well, the first one that is a success of our own recipe, I think we've agreed is probably the stout.
Yeah.
And from what I remember...
Sorry. I'm like, this is really good.
Thanks, man. It means a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So the stout was definitely one that came on because we were doing those Guinness kegs, and we knew we liked stout. So it was like, oh, we're familiar with these. Let's make that.
And also, why not make it complicated and do a nitro beer right off the bat?
We've gotten some comments on that. So it's nitrogenated, and people are like, wow, I didn't expect a small brewery starting out to have nitro beer. And we actually got kind of lucky on that. We used to frequent a place called the Flying Saucer. It was it wasn't in Power and Light. It was adjacent to it. When they had an auction for all their equipment, they're no longer there. We got their old tap system and nitro system.
That's awesome.
So we could do that. It would have been a nitro anyway, but it probably would have been more complicated, buying more tanks and things. So that was another. So it took us so long. We got lucky on some things because we could wait around for them. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to your question, like we all really leaned more malt than hop. And so stout just made a lot of sense. And since we were drinking the Guinness all the time, it was like, well, let's come up with our own stout because we know we all like it. And we drink it all the time. Even in the summer, we'll drink stouts in the summer.
Yeah, I'm always frustrated. Me and my wife especially. It's like going out in summertime. It's like, I want a nice barrel-aged imperial stout right now. And everyone's like, what's wrong with you? I was like,
so it's like with bourbon, because like I'm a big bourbon guy, and it's like I can't drink it in the summer. It's like I want to, and I do sometimes, but it's like it's so hard to drink when it's 100 degrees outside and you're drinking bourbon. It's like I know
we're the opposite of that. We're just like, I like a stout. I'll drink it whenever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm saying I get the other side of it because once it starts getting cooler out right now, I'm just like, oh, it's perfect.
We'll have to think of the Lynchburg lemonade or highball equivalent of a stout somehow to lighten it up for the summer.
You guys are thinking on your feet.
Because that's how I can drink bourbon in the summer, you know.
So, what are your next two?
Yeah,
these are
so the next one would be
that one, Bramber.
The Bramber,
which I think is probably our one name that doesn't have anything to do with anything other than the beer itself.
Yeah, as far as we know, we're the only Bramber in the world. I don't know.
What is
we've had some people come by who have been to hundreds of breweries, and they're like, Bramber? What's that? I've never heard of a Bramber. It's just an amalgamation of brown and amber. Brown ale and amber ale are styles of ales, and we wanted to try to show people, being kind of malty, darker beer people, that you don't have to be afraid of dark beer. I think earlier you said when we mentioned Guinness, like, oh, Guinness, that's kind of a heavy beer. Guinness is actually a light beer.
Is it really?
Like 4.5%. It's fairly low calorie and low carb. I think the nitro that Guinness is typically on gives the perception of it being a little bit heavier, but people naturally associate that color with it being super high ABV
I'm watching you.
It's not too approachable.
Right.
But
that's a little bit better.
The goal here was just to make an easy drinking dark beer.
We don't overserve.
No,
right. So hopefully you find this to be as easy drinking as these last two, in that just because it's that color doesn't mean it's heavy. Or
Yeah, for sure. This is so even though the other two are right now are number one, number two in selling, this is the one that when people get it, they're like, oh my God, that's not what I expected. That is so light compared to what it looks like. And, they love it
looks
after
dark.
they try it.
I haven't tried it yet. Yeah, it smells delicious.
And I was going to say another thing about, you were talking about serving them a lot there. Another thing that happened when changing from homebrewers to, I guess you can call us professional now, technically. I don't know. It feels weird.
We sold some. It counts, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
As long as you sell one, you're good. You're
that's true. We definitely had to get some of our recipes under control because when we were homebrewing them, some of those...
Yeah, we'd brew our stout at like 10% ABV, and you got to be careful either serving that stuff in real small portions or not giving out much of it. So we wanted to be able to just pour pints of everything because when you get a beer, you want a full beer, you know?
Yeah. This is surprisingly light. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I think this might be my favorite so far.
That is the comment we get all the time.
It's the number one in my heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is surprising. I thought it was going to be very heavy. Yeah, nope.
Perfect. You heard it here first, everybody.
Yeah.
Dark beers can be approachable.
Very.
No, we had a guy in on one of the first weekends, and I think he said we were in the 700s of the breweries that he's visited, and he was one of those people that has never heard of a Bramber, right? Because I think we make the only one.
Everyone that comes in that's on Untapped knows that guy by name.
Oh, yeah. I wish I could remember his name now, geez. But he's like, I'm just going to try them all, and then I got to go. He just wanted to try, get little taster sizes of all four of them, and then he hit that Bramber. And he was really thinking on it for a while. And he's like, there's just something about this. So he decided he was going to get a pint. So it kept him around for an extra pint. And then he's like, well, maybe one more pint. And he wound up sitting at the bar for 3 or 4 hours and had
I'm only going to take these and go.
Yeah, had a few pints of Bramber when he was just going to come in and try them all and be on his way. That's the one that got him to stick around. And he found to just be really interesting.
It is. Yeah. It not like confuses me, but it's just like it's one of those like you don't think it's going to be what it looks like what it tastes like.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, oh, this is really good because you look at it, you're like, oh, this is going to knock me in my ass. No, yeah. So with beer, I don't know if it's like bourbon, but like with bourbon, there's like what 3 or 4 ingredients, and that's it. With beer, is it kind of similar, or is it?
Yeah, especially if you go strict German laws to where. Yeah, I mean, it's mainly your water, your hops, your grain, and then the yeast. It does a lot of flavor profile, too, depending on what style you're doing. Like, the cream ale's not very yeast
driven. No, we tried to find the cleanest fermenting yeast for the cream ale because we want to mimic that lager style. Yeah. And all your lagers finish super crisp with, like, no yeast character kind of left over. So it just depends on kind of what you're going for. But yeah, at the basis level, it's malt or grains, hops, yeast, and water.
Yeah.
So we try not to
with hops.
Yeah. So if you're making like an Indian Pale Ale or IPA, like are you putting in more of one like ingredient, or are you putting something different? Or
so like generally, there's way more hops in the IPA than there is any of the other ones,
both in quantity and variety.
Right. To whereas like the cream ale, there's minimal hoppage, one hop, right? So it just depends on the style. So it's like
and you can bring various hop complexity to your IPAs by using different kinds of hops and getting the balance between them all right. With hops, you've typically got your bittering, your flavor, and then on your nose, depending on how long you boil them in and which types you use, you can really get an entirely different effect from just the hops itself. Then the grains are the same way. Again, like how long were they toasted and things like that. How deep in color are those grains, and you mix those to get a balance in flavor. Yeah. So those things all kind of work together.
So are you guys like getting your ingredients just from a certain person or place, or that makes it like different from everybody else? Or
no, I mean, for the most part, it's all pretty standard. A lot of the stuff is standard. There are a couple beers that we've done in the past that were kind of wacky stuff that eventually we'll be able to bring back, but it's going to be trickier on a larger scale too, finding certain ingredients in that volume, or certain flower petals and things in the poundage range versus there's a couple flowers over there, I'm going to pick up and throw them in a beer, something like that. So.
Yeah. But we're not using anything that anybody else can't get. Yeah. It's really just in the combination of those ingredients and then taking the time to make sure that we get it right and do everything clean, because if you've ever had a beer that tasted a little off, there may have been some infection that got in the beer in the fermentation process, or it wasn't stored at the right temperature, or it was exposed to light for too long, that can kind of create some of those off flavors. So it really all starts with being consistent in our process, cleanliness procedures, and then just getting the combination of things right, and our argumentative process amongst ourselves to find out what we do like and don't like in certain styles to kind of come to that perfect balance is what's worked for us so far.
Sounds like there's a lot of work just to go into making a beer.
I can't remember if it was someone at Bacchus, which is a store that sells grains and brewery stuff.
And shout out to Bacchus for being awesome, because they've been our homebrew place forever. And occasionally, if we're doing a big batch and we're like, we forgot something, run down there, they got it.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I can't remember if it was there or somewhere else, but someone said, you're going to get into brewing. I hope you like washing things. Because,
like what?
Washing things, cleaning things, because 90% of the process is just making sure everything is clean. That is huge, because you want the yeast to do the work, not infection, like you said. So, that's a big part of it. It's just back-end work.
It seems like it's a lot of work.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's very rewarding, too, when you got that on tap and you check the line, take a sip of it, you're like, okay. And that first person walks in the door, it's like, oh, yeah, I like this. And it's like,
yeah. So if something's off, if you're tasting it, is it like bourbon where you can taste it throughout the process and kind of figure out I need to add something else to it, or?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really add to fix certain things at a certain point. Pre-fermentation, you can taste the wort, which is unfermented beer, and you can tell maybe if it's not sweet enough. We got a bad extraction. We didn't get as much sugar off of that as we should have.
Yeah.
You can do stuff about that using what are called adjuncts. You can just add, it's not powdered sugar, but it kind of is powdered sugar.
Like that,
where we can just we can
powdered sugar.
But it's you can add you can add sweetness and increase your gravity that way. And we really try hard not to use adjunct stuff. We want to go all grain and do it the right way. So if you get a bad conversion, you just kind of bail on it and start over, or maybe you turn it into a lower ABV version and, still try to get it out the door that way. But we haven't. We get pretty good conversion overall.
Yeah, we've been doing
for what we're trying to do. But post-fermentation, before you cold crash it and carbonate it, you get a taste out of the fermenter, and you can tell if something went wrong in there. If it's really slick, your yeast didn't clean up. It's diacetyl. It's the compound in there. If it's got weird kind of fruity flavors, it probably had some kind of other non-yeast bacteria that contributed to the flavor going off, and you can't really do anything about that. At that point, it's kind of a wash, and it's got to go.
Do you just throw it out, or you just kind of just we gotta do something with this?
Which is really sad at the scale. When it was like a 5-gallon carboy of beer, we could have probably thrown it away, but we would still just push through it and drink it
there's
anyway.
There's alcohol
when you're homebrewers. But when there's a big tank and we want it to be consistent and sell to people, it's like, it's got to go.
Yeah, it's important to get it right. You know?
Yeah. That's well. Hopefully, you guys are getting it right.
Yeah. So far,
knock on wood.
Yeah,
I got you.
I
got you.
Appreciate it.
Perfect.
All right, so I'm ready for the last one. What do we got? You said the creme. What is it? Creme.
Wait, the cream ale was first. The YPA was second. Bramber third. This is our stout. It's the Long Road Ahead stout, because it was that first one that we got right.
And then we knew we were going to have a long road ahead of us.
Yeah, apparently we knew from the get-go. Named it. And this is.
So what's the difference? So what is a stout?
Like more than normal.
So a stout.
I'm asking as a novice.
Yeah, and again, another dark beer, but you're going to get way more kind of roast character out of this. Some people liken it to coffee. Some people get chocolate. People's tastes vary. We do use flaked oats in this, so it is an oatmeal stout. So you might get some of that character. This is on nitro in the tap room. Nitro does not
travel well.
Well in a growler, so it might read a little flat here, but in the tap room you're going to get that creamy head on it like you'd see on a Guinness poured fresh. So
good.
And we do have bottles here now, but just so everybody know, we don't currently have cans or bottles.
No,
hopefully next year we'll be able to start doing some to-go stuff, but right now it's just you sit down and drink it. So,
but you can go in there and get something? And
No,
not yet. Okay.
Yeah, we brought them today, special, but we don't have them for the masses.
Well, then I feel special.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Go get your-
still good. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Guys, try it. Go down there and try this stuff out. This is good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You guys sounds like you're pros at it already.
No.
By the way you guys are talking, I'm like, you know way more shit than I ever would.
We've put a lot of time in over the years. When you think about it, it adds up. We used to brew every Wednesday in the kitchen for years and years at the house, just getting that backlog of recipes. And we wanted to bring our favorite 4 to the forefront first. But, you know, depending on the time of year, there's so many other things that we're excited to get out there and try and do eventually too.
So what's like, is there anything new that's coming out that you guys are like working on?
I'm
that
cool
you
to
can
talk about it.
Yeah,
We
you can
just
talk about it.
Hopefully the porter will be coming soon, which
The what?
porter.
Gotcha.
it's another dark beer,
Wintertime.
but a kind of a different character than the stout. But yeah, just a good wintertime drink or something that's rich, something that warms you up, you know, a little bit. Despite it being cold when you drink it, obviously. But yeah,
the furnace will be on. It'll be nice and warm in the bar.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
And then hopefully we can. I need to get some whiskey and bourbon barrels in, and we can start aging stuff for this time next year. We'll have a bunch of barrel aged stuff.
Well, I can get you in contact with Ryan from Rieger. He'll hook you up.
that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome to do, like a combination.
Yeah, like a bourbon barrel aged.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we have home brew scale practice at that as well. We used to make them in the kitchen and leave them in the basement for a year, and so it'd be great to roll that out on a larger scale too.
Cool.
Yeah, this is a very delicious beer when it's been sitting in a bourbon barrel for a while.
So you said you would leave it in there for like a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
we've done as little
that
as 6
sounds
months, and we've gone as far as 16 successfully. I think we took 1 to 2 years, and it was a little too far. Yeah. So we'll probably target that 10 to 12 month range to age some of these things. So yeah, it'll probably be this time next year where we'd be able to roll some of that out, because it does take time to get all that bourbony goodness in there.
All right, are you going to be like everybody else and come out with some kind of seltzer?
No, and I don't know the laws on that. And I'm probably not going to look into it. To be honest,
don't wanna
I
do
got
it,
nothing
we're not
against
doing
them.
it.
They got their time and their place. It's just not our thing. So
That is something that we randomly have started to learn, is like the laws around different things we can and can't make. Like when the meadery was around, we looked into it, and we can't even use honey, or we can't make honey derived things. There's all sorts of they have to be separate kind of things. Yeah,
Kansas is getting better, but it was like that's why there were so many more breweries in Missouri for so long. And then luckily, I think it's been like Free State and them have been fighting for changing some beer laws and stuff. But it's over time, it's gotten a lot better, because you couldn't even self distribute until like
this year.
July.
Yeah.
Really?
So yeah.
Jeez.
And that's like, how Boulevard got started, was a guy wheeling the keg or in the back of a truck to Ponax or whatever. It's like, well, you can't do that in Kansas. You got to sell it to a distributor. Distributor has to sell.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Are they trying to change that? You
It's
said?
changed,
Just did.
yeah.
Oh, they.
Yeah. They just
You said in
changed it.
July.
July of this year.
Yeah, because I remember everyone kind of talking about that. It's like you have to sell yourself to a distributor, and then they have to sell your stuff.
Right.
It's either that or you get your own distributor's license, which is expensive, and then there's logistics too and stuff.
So are you guys in anywhere else, or just at the brewery?
Yeah, just at the brewery for
That's another one.
foreseeable future.
Yeah, like it goes back to your question about which one do you make, and it's like, well, we still need to figure out what the cadence is on. What are we running out of? What do we go through the most? What do we need to brew before we know and can be comfortable selling a keg to someone else that we're not going to run out ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, we've been making beer for a long time, but the business side is new to us as far as how a lot of some of that works and how much we'd need to make.
Yeah.
Like, we want to make sure, first and foremost, the tap room is stocked.
Yeah.
And so any beer going out the door might cut into that, so we're still kind of, I think,
see
figuring
so many
that part
of
out.
these breweries closing down now. It's going into another beer recession thing. And it's like, well, you see all these breweries expand and start doing canning and things, and it crushes them in the long run. So
Can crushing. Yeah. You just need to do that.
No pun intended. So where do you guys see yourself in like the next 5 to 10 years?
Well,
10. Oh, we have to argue about it.
probably. Probably on the short end of that, hopefully. I mean, well on the short end of that, pre 5 years, merch, crowlers going out the door, probably. lagers, expanded beer selection.
That should all happen by springtime. So
Yeah, I can get you a merch person.
All right,
Don't worry about
sweet.
that. Yeah,
but probably on the longer side of 5 to 10 years, a bigger space, outdoor seating.
Yeah.
Would be amazing. We're discussing internally what we're going to try to do for spring to leverage some outdoor space, because I know that's important, especially certain times of year. There's nothing better than sitting outside with a cold beer too. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's awesome. So what I guess we'll end with this question. What would you tell someone that's like getting into this brewing? Because there's a lot of people that brew. Yeah. Like, what would you tell them if they're trying to kind of start something up? Because you guys sound like you've grinded away to get to where you are.
Like someone who wants to open a brewery, or
open a brewery, or just even start brewing. Yeah.
Oh, with home brewing, just definitely go visit somewhere like Bacchus or one of those stores. Those guys, like Larry said, are amazing to work with.
Yeah, they have so much knowledge, and they love sharing.
They love talking about it. Yeah,
and there's tons of groups out there too.
Oh yeah,
I'm very
homebrew
antisocial.
clubs.
I like I get social anxiety, so I'm like, I don't know about these clubs.
Yeah,
I do appreciate them. I just but that and and then you got to enjoy it too. Like even the little things of scrubbing out a thing, like.
Yeah,
you're scrubbing that because you're going to get an awesome beer out of it.
Yeah.
I think what really, kicked off for us is being around people who also want to do it. Because it was a community. Just being like the 4 of us or 5 of us, whoever was living at the house at the time. It was also just a reason to hang out. That Wednesday brew. It's like everybody's sitting at home, and one person would watch the mash, and then someone would watch over while it's boiling, and then I would clean everything or whatever it was. It's just like we're all there sitting together, BSing and having fun. So find a community. I think that even goes back to the homebrewer things. If that's your thing, find a community.
Yeah.
Go visit these places that are sharing their knowledge about it.
Yeah. And just stumble through it. Be willing to make mistakes and learn from them.
Drink a lot of bad beer that you make for a while.
Share the beer with other people. Get people that you trust to be honest with you about it. Because we toyed with some stuff like fruit extracts and stuff, and people were like, "Don't this cough syrup flavor. Don't do this anymore."
Beets.
Beets. We tried beets. I thought that one turned out all right. Yeah,
might revisit.
A little earthy. Yeah,
you're like, it wasn't too bad.
I think does Crane still do that one too? Beet Weiss. They had a kind of sour wheat beer that was. You get a real awesome red color if you steep some beets in with your mash, and then
I do love a sour. I don't know if you guys ever want to do that in the future.
So we
do want to.
Our
marketing guy hates it.
It's fine.
Talking about stuff before it's ready.
We should.
Just say it may be.
It's taken me longer than I wanted it to, but we should have a Berliner Weiss before too long. Now it's not a crazy sour, and we're not set up for that kind of thing yet. In the future that could be something that changes. Yeah. Maybe next year, we'll see. Then we can do some crazy sours, which I would enjoy. But that's a whole nother. You're dealing with all sorts of yeast and temperatures. Yeah, it's a whole different thing on the back end compared to the stuff.
It takes a lot of time.
It's.
Yeah, I'm just a guy drinking it. I don't have to make it, so I'm just just let me know when it's ready.
So sours, possibly.
Yeah. We just have some space constraints for some of those things that take a lot of time is really kind of the challenge. But Berliner Weiss, nice tart wheat. We've got the recipe. It's just a matter of getting it off the ground and making it happen.
Yeah. So. Got a lot of recipes in the pocket.
We do have
a matter of time before we.
That is one thing about as long as we homebrewed is just getting that backlog, like Larry said earlier, of just like random things we've made. And I forget even some of the ones we've done that they'll bring up, like porter. I completely had forgotten. Like, oh yeah, we already have that recipe. I just drank too much stout.
Yeah. No, but it was just, hey, what kind of beer do we want to drink? Or, hey, I was at this place and I had one of these and it was awesome. We got to figure out how to make one. Yeah. And so we just did a lot of that for a lot of years. And so
that's awesome.
Through that same argumentative process, come up with a lot of, we think, really good stuff. So looking forward to people coming out and trying it.
Yeah. So before we end, kind of tell people where to find you, your hours, and
hours is important.
Yeah. We're 601 Central Avenue, right next door to Slaps. They're open till 7. You can order food online there. Bring it on over.
Yeah.
We're Thursday 4 to 9, Friday 4 to 10, and Saturday 11 to 10. I know a lot of people ask about Sundays. That's our brew day right now, but we all still have our full-time jobs. But if you guys come in and buy a bunch of beer, then we might be able to change that, and we can start being open on Sundays too. So that'd be really good because I know a lot of people.
That's a 5-year goal.
Yeah, 5-year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
expanded hours.
Expanded hours.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then like on social media, you guys Facebook, Instagram,
Instagram. There is an X account. I need to update that more.
Formerly known as Twitter. You always see that in parentheses on stuff. So.
Yeah.
So it's Strawberry Hill Brewing Company.
Yeah,
Just Strawberry Hill Brewing. Yeah, Facebook.com/Strawberry Hill Brewing. Same for Instagram.
On formerly Twitter, it's Strawberry Brew or something weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we had to take the letters out of it to make it fit or something.
And our website should be up before too long.
Hopefully soon.
It within the next few weeks probably. It'll be strawberryhillbrewing.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Doesn't work yet, but it will.
But it will.
Yeah.
It will.
It's getting there. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks
Appreciate
for having us.
Hey,
Awesome.
you guys got to go down and try the stuff. It is good stuff. I'm gonna get a keg or something of this stuff.
There you go.
Yeah,
Like to hear that.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I know.
Glad you liked it. It means a lot.
Yeah,
we
of
welcome
course.
people coming in, and we're the ones doing the bartending too. So talking about the beer, even feedback. I mean, we love it. That's what we're doing it for.
Yeah, if you don't like it, tell us. I appreciate it. And
We need to know.
I always like making stuff better, and even stuff in the building, something you don't like, let me know. I'll try to fix it.
The strawberry.
I got a strawberry I need to finish on the ceiling. I'll get to it one of these days.
Come on. No, I'm just kidding.
Artwork hanging.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get down there on Thursday or Friday. So we're gonna walk
That'd be great.
down.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's a longer walk than I always think it is.
it is. Yeah.
Every time I walked, a couple weeks ago. I walked down here from there to meet my cousin, and I was like,
This is
man.
seems so close, but yet so far. Well, thank you guys for coming on, and I appreciate you guys, and I wish nothing but the best for you guys, and I know it's going to go well because you guys got good shit. So good.
Cheers, dude. Thank you.
Cheers, and thank you guys for tuning in, and we will get back with you next week. We'll see you.
Goodbye, everybody.